Hello, everybody. Nice to have you here. Pretty cool. The stream is on, and we are now live. Pretty nice. Different setup today. I'll talk about that a little later. So, video looks good. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Live Tech Show. This is Tech Show number 70. 70. We're getting to that big, eventually, soon, big number of 100. And something special is going to have to be done for that one. And we'll check out what we could imagine. And so, hey everyone, welcome. This is Live Tech Show number 70. We are March 28th, 2017. My name is Gilles. We are located in Montreal, Quebec, Canada. And this is a show where I answer your tech questions. And of course, the best way, and the way we actually do this is, first of all, we answer the questions from the email. So helpwithyourcomputers@gmail.com. That's where we answer the first questions. After we got all the questions there, we go into the chat room and we look at, what you guys want to talk about. So welcome everybody. I see the people in the chat room and the counter slowly going up. A little different setup today. I've decided to a tech guy gets computers all the time, and I got a new I got a client on Monday, and she changed her laptop, and she gave me her old Toshiba 17-inch screen. And I thought, you know what, why not, just because what I've been doing for a long time is using the same machine that streams and using it also to read the email and doing pretty much everything. And I thought, hey, why not just dedicate the streaming machine to do one thing, streaming, and use another laptop for chat and also to see how many people are watching. So basically a little different setup, but still a lot of fun. Also different setup in the lighting, so it's kind of different and it seems to be nice and bright. So if anything is wrong anyways, let me know. And here is the mascot, Paul the Cat, saying hello, or DX for the radio enthusiast. Paul the Cat saying hi to everybody by showing his great big butt, which is what a cat does usually when they want to tell you they like you, apparently. So he must have liked everybody in the chat room. So hey everyone, welcome to the live show. Nice to have everybody on board. And we are going to get into the chat room and the questions a little earlier. So, of course, if you want to help us out, and particularly now because I don't know if you guys have been reading, and I talked about it in the news bulletin today, there's a lot of advertisers that are boycotting YouTube ads right now. And in the past 5 days, my monetization has dropped I'd say at least 25%, which puts it in a zone of very, very uncomfortable revenue for me. So, you know what? Now is the time, more than ever. If you want to donate, help me out. Patreon.com/radioandcomputers is a nice place. You can set up a little something every month that's automatically deducted. And, it's easy to use, and you can just, get out of it anytime you want. And any amount helps. People sometimes say, well, I don't have money. And, even if it's $1, it's $1, and if everybody gives a little something, helps a lot. PayPal donations also at the Yahoo email that there is on your screen. And I want to thank everybody and hope that you can come through. And it's very, very nice to have everybody on board. Thank you for all of those that already donated. Really cool. And you know what? If I help you in any way, why not consider a little something to help me out? Okay, let's start with the questions here. And here we go. Video playback in browsers. And I've got 2 questions with that. And they're pretty much similar. One is a question that comes from Douglas Elliott, and another one from William T. And they kind of go into the same thing. So Douglas talking about TED videos on Edge, not working well, but working well in another browser. And as for William, he's talking about another website that he's watching that has some music videos that doesn't work well on Edge, yet works fine on Chrome, but both have the same kind of little comment saying, but I don't have YouTube problems, but I have problems on that particular website. And both give me their, average internet speed connection, which is more than enough to watch videos. So it's really not your internet service provider here, but something happening. So, of course, it is a little frustrated, and it is a little something that sometimes happen. You know what? What could be the cause? What is missing in Edge? You know what? Edge has its own unique way of processing videos. The way that it actually works is different than what Chrome or Firefox does, because Microsoft Edge wants to always push HTML5 videos and wants the processing of that video to have it displayed on your screen is different from other browsers. And you know what? It might have issues. It might be broken for some websites. I do see a lot of people surprisingly saying, hey, YouTube videos don't play well on Edge. That's not my issue here at all. I got to say, if I look at the Twit network that has live streaming, that doesn't work in Edge for me. But it does work in Chrome. And I think it's all in the detection of the protocols and what it wants to use to actually simply, receive the feed as fast as possible to display it on your screen. And I think that's where everything is. It's not I don't think it's missing anything. I don't think your computer's a problem. I think Edge is broken a little bit on video playback on some websites. Also, it's to understand that each website, TED, YouTube, whatever the other browser we see these the videos from, each use their own protocol for sending out on the web. So maybe TED is using a different protocol from other websites, and that particular protocol doesn't work well in Edge. So that's really possible. And so, you know what? That's why I always say that it's better to have more than one browser in your computer. As a tech guy, I very, very often install or see that there are other browsers, and sometimes people will tell me, hey, why do I need the other browser? I'm using Edge or I'm using Internet Explorer, and I don't see why I should have another browser in my computer. And I always tell them, you know what, keep the other browser, because you never know when something might pop up or not work well in one browser. At least you got another one that might actually do it okay. Also, sometimes I'll talk about the fact that if you get infected with something, sometimes one browser gets infected, the other one doesn't. So there are possibilities by having more than one browser, and basically it all goes with the protocols and the way that it's done. So basically, video playback is probably an issue, maybe in the way that TED does its own stream, the way that it's sending out, and Edge just doesn't like it. But there does seem to be quite an issue with video playback with Edge on certain websites, more than others. Like YouTube videos aren't working for some. It's very weird. YouTube videos are working for others, but it's very, very complex, and it's difficult also to pinpoint, because not seeing the computer of the person, sometimes you can pinpoint something. Remember add-ons? If you have any types of add-ons in the browser, that affects video playback. every little add-on or toolbar or everything that you add in your browser typically slows it down a little bit, will often actually maybe change some settings, and suddenly just doesn't work very well. But it all goes to the fact that maybe Edge is defaulting to some playback method that's not good for the playback itself. It might be that Ted wants to use Flash, and it doesn't work well in in Edge, or YouTube wants to default. To give you an idea, TED could be a Flash website for video, and YouTube always pushes HTML5. There are differences in there. What are you using, Edge or not? So it's something. And like I said, not all browsers are equal in the rendering of content. That's why keep another browser just in case. I think it's something that is very, very useful. And one day or another, you get to the point where, okay, yeah, you know what, that other browser I never use, well, now I'm using it because for that website, for a specific content, works better. Every website has its own little way of doing things that makes it unique, and every browser does not process the same information exactly the same way. So that's something to remind you of. But there probably ain't a fix, or you probably don't have a fix for that, or no fix available. Someday you'll get an update maybe, and everything, suddenly TED videos will work really, really well. So it all depends on what's going to happen, and every browser just processes stuff differently. Okay, other questions about, let's check it out. Yes, Paul loves being on the show. Actually, every time I start talking on the live show, Paul gets off his, because he's, just like behind the camera, by the way. Sorry, I'm just diverting to Paul the cat here. And because I see the chat room go by, so sometimes I see the people talking about different things. And so usually he's sleeping. While I do these shows, he has two sleeping spaces. His chair right here next to the window, or he sometimes is in the bedroom on the bed. But when he hears me talking, when I start live shows, for some reason he gets kind of attracted to what's happening. Let's go see what's happening, and let's pay a visit. It's kind of funny. So yes, the cat's name is Paul. And it's not me that actually gave him this name. It's this cat was my neighbor's cat, and she had two cats. And basically, what happened is this cat started coming over my home regularly, and as time went on, he was less and less going back down and always staying here. So when she moved away, she said, "You know what? Paul the cat loves you so much." And to give you guys an idea, I arrived from a tech duty once, and I was outside, and she was arriving also. And Paul was outside, and he started running, and he totally ignored her and came running to me. So she said, "Well, okay, that kind of tells me the cat loves you more than he loves me." So when she moved, she said, "I'm sad, but you know what? Knowing that the cat's going to be really happy here, I want you to have the cat if you want it." So, of course, I took the cat. But she's the one who called her Paul. And the story behind DX, because sometimes you'll see some people in the chat say, hey, they call him DX, is simply the fact that on the day that he appeared for the first time, I was in a chat room talking with other people about radio stuff. DX is a radio term that means long distance. So immediately somebody in the chat said, hey, call him DX the cat. So I said, well, that's actually a cool name for a radio related show. So in the radio show, it's probably more often you'll see everybody calling him DX. And in here, it's usually Paul. So, but whatever you want. You know what? I don't think he understands either Paul and he doesn't understand Paul. If I call him Paul, he doesn't even look. And basically now when I do Minu, that's when he looks at me. So, you know what? I guess his name was probably more Minu. So, hey, everybody in the chat room joining. Pretty cool to have you here. And I got some cat hair everywhere. Okay. Windows 10 apps and programs. This also comes to us as a question from Douglas Elliott once again. He's got an HP Helmet Pad, managed to upgrade the last week despite being very tight on memory. The tablet has an SD card slot in. He wonders what programs can be stored there or use it for storage. So can programs be installed on the SD card, for example? And thank you for the kind words. Says I'm doing a great job. Yeah. If with the anniversary update, and of course that's going to continue with the creators update, when you have an SD card in your computer, if it's formatted correctly, that's important because if it's formatted in FAT32, sometimes it doesn't work. Best is to right-click, format the SD card in the file manager in NTFS format. It will work better. Two things you can install: desktop programs. You know when you click a setup and you start seeing, okay, next, and this is where the software is going to install itself and so on. If you want to save space, you can actually click Browse. Most programs that give you a setup have a Browse button saying, oh, that's not where I wanted to install. And you can actually browse and you'll see your SD card if it's inserted in the list of drives available. You can click the drive and it will continue installing on that SD card. Also, when you are on apps in Windows 10, and let's see here if we can, we'll go in settings and we'll go into the apps. Here we go, apps. When you have the app list, now this, by the way, is creators update, so it's a little different than what you might have now. But in the anniversary update right now, what you have is in system, in the system file place, you'll have the apps also. When you get the apps, the way that it works is you click an app. So let's see here, I'm gonna Candy Crush, for example. And here you've got a button called that's Move. When Move is available, that means that if you have a compatible drive, you can click the Move button and send the app to the SD card to save space on the computer. So you can go through all of that and click the Move button. Now, the Move button is not available for everything. Okay? The Move button is not available in certain apps. It will be grayed out in certain apps. And last but not least, if you see that the Move button still stays grayed out when you have the apps installed and you click, it might not be formatted in the correct format that it wants to be installed with. One thing that I would say to be careful with is if you do this, I just want to remind you that SD cards are usually much slower and certain programs or certain apps will take longer to load. For example, I've got an 8-inch tablet here that also has very little space. And I've inserted a 64 gigabyte SD card, a micro SD card in it. And of course, I did put a lot of apps and programs on the SD card. But you see that the loading time it takes for the program to load and to do things is a little slower because it's not as fast. It's not as fast as the main memory of your device. So, and just to complete because it's in the same type of question. We have David that says, is there a way to use old CF cards in Windows 10? If you have a compatible CF card reader, it should show up in Windows 10. It's just a question of getting a card reader. That's it. One of the things that I always talk about on SD cards, by the way, is also the fact that if you have SD cards and different types of SD cards, you can get these little multi-card readers, which are very cheap. For $10 you'll have a little device that plugs USB that can read any type of cards, and it will, if you have older cards like CF cards and stuff like that, you'll be able to read everything. So no problem, Douglas, and it's really nice to be helpful. iPhone and iPad questions, and they are related to some people being a little scared of what's to come. Before we do that, I will just check for answer two questions. Well, one question, and also have Stephen Mail send me an email, and we're just gonna check it out here. So first of all, we have Rick Sader. I don't know how you pronounce it, something like that, but it's Rick. Rick says he's got a message that his mail account was out of date. It's not my ISP, it's my Windows 10 mail app. Now, the question I would have is, does your mail account work? If it does, ignore it, because there's a lot of fake messages saying, oh, your mail account is not good or something. The other thing is you might have, and I've seen this, when we go at the Action Center on the right side here, it sometimes appears that we have a pop-up that says, oh, you've got basically, your settings are out of date in Mail, for example, or in Calendar. And that comes from the fact that basically your password might have been changed or something. So check out your settings, make sure that your passwords are right. It might just be that the password, if you've changed your password for some reason, remember that it might change in Mail. And just, go back into your settings in Mail and check out, make sure that it's okay. So if you go in Mail, for example, here, and you click the Mail app, you have your different accounts in there. And if we look at the accounts, so the accounts are there on the left side, you can click Accounts, and when you click Accounts, you'll see that you'll have settings on the right side. You can manage your accounts, change your settings. So that's what you want to do. And basically with your account. But apart from that, if it works, don't touch anything. It might just be, and it happened to me, by the way. That it told me my account settings were out of date, and it wasn't. It just, the next day it didn't tell me that anymore. So there's no issues with that, and there's nothing that's going to happen really. So basically, that's pretty much what I have to say with that. So basically, if you have any other issue, let me know, and we'll be checking that out. Okay, we are going to read a question coming from Stephen Mail here, and basically, Stephen Mail question says, this time on Lenovo desktop. So, okay, he's got some problems again, says, hey, this time my Lenovo desktop had to be redone once again. I was finishing up some videos, and when I closed the browser window, my desktop wallpaper was fuzzy, kept reverting to my full screen start menu, which seems to work, but like in Windows 8.1 again. I tried to restore, it failed both times, Instead of just going a refresh, I reinstalled Windows Anniversary from Media Creation Tool. It did keep my files, my apps this time. Everything went well, including cumulative update. That previous update from a couple of days ago had failed and never showed up again. In fact, that update never showed up on my Dell desktop. By the way, concerning the updates, there's an update that brought some of you to the Windows 10 version 14.393.970 when you look at the Windows version. But not everybody got that. Here I didn't get it on any of my computers. It seems that it's a specific update that's not for everyone for some reason. So if you haven't and you're still at 969, I think it's okay. There's no problem there. Okay. What else? And now you also ask about my disk cleaner usage. This was the one from Windows, which I ran every day on my computer along with Malwarebytes and CCleaner. Usually runs and auto shuts down when finished. It was just not closing, but appeared to be done. Remember, this only happened after updates. Creators Update 15.058 seems to be running almost normal. The only thing is it's taking a lot longer to start up. It's not a whole lot different from the anniversary update. Insider Machine will not update to 15.063. Each time it gets to an 80% an error message to retry. I've tried this 4 or 5 times, waited a couple hours, tried again with the same results. When the ISO for Creators Update gets posted, I will update my media creation tool. After 10-12 successful attempts to update this all of a sudden. Computer updated itself 15.063. Hope this is Creators Update. However, Microsoft Edge doesn't work, keeps crashing. This is weird because, I don't have any crashes. Did a refresh, Edge still doesn't work, and I have to reinstall everything. Should I go back to Anniversary Update? I don't, it's so weird that you get all these problems, and that is something that I'm so curious about. I don't have any issues in 15.063 on 2 machines that I've updated. And it's sad, but he's finishing his email with, I'm getting to the point where technology is getting less and less important. So even though I will probably catch the live tech show, but will not be emailing as often. Thank you for all you do. It's been an honor being part of this show. Stephen Mail in Aurora, Colorado. It's sad to see that, all of these problems are kind of putting you down and, putting you sad there. So very, very, very sad to see that. You've got so many problems, man. And I'm so curious as to why you might have so many problems. And, and it's like everybody, it's very, very weird. That's all I can say. I'm trying to, all your machines are having problems and everything, and I'm so curious about that. So, anyways, take care, my friend, and I hope that you will reconsider and still be part and still enjoy technology, even though, I do understand that when you get a lot of problems, it does get, to a point where you really feel a little down, and that I can tell you. Okay, iPhone, iPad questions. Now, I got a few of those from people that are a little kind of, wondering what to do. And about, I talked about it in the news bulletin. I talked about it on From the Couch Tech Show last week. And it has to do with April 7th being a date where we don't really know what's going to happen. So what exactly is happening? So these questions come from Susan. They come from Tim, but not Tim Robinson, another Tim that is emailing me. And also I have an email from Arthur, that pretty much are the same type of question, which means after viewing some articles, reading from listening to my live news, my news broadcast and everything, they're kind of scared of what's going to happen. Okay, my take on what's going to happen April 7th. And okay, let's just go back, because for people that don't know what is happening April 7th, hackers. Okay, there's a bunch of Turkish hackers that are asking Apple millions of dollars in order to not delete millions of phones and iPads. They say that they've got millions of accounts that they can access, and that if they don't get the few millions of dollars that they want, they will erase all the iPhones and iPads on April 7th. The take of Apple is that they have not, Apple says they have not been breached, meaning the information they got, they don't have it from that, from Apple itself. They say what's possible? Third-party breach. So meaning, for example, if you're on Yahoo, you use the same password on your Apple account that you use on Yahoo or any other website that might have been breached. They think that might be the case. So my take is on April 7th, there possibly will not have anything that's going to happen. Yet, the precautions, and as a tech guy, I'm always trying to be ahead of the bad thing that's going to happen. So I would say anyone with an Apple ID, okay, just change your password. If they had your password, then that's going to be okay. And one of the things, and actually my nephew, Gabriel, that was on the show, from the Couch Show, did not fully understand this. He said, well, my phone is backed up. But just think about it. If they have access to your Apple account, they can erase everything. They can delete everything. They can erase your phone from a distance. So whatever backup you've got, unless it's a backup that you plug in your phone with iTunes, there's a possibility that they lose everything. So basically, change your password. I think it's just enough. And it's a 10-minute thing. You just go to the Apple website and you change your password. And you know what? Pretty sure that's going to secure you for a long time. And I think that's going to be okay. I don't think you have to do anything else. And like I said, probably on April 7th, nothing's going to happen. It could be a very big bluff. And they're trying to extort millions of dollars out of Apple computers. So we'll see. Anyways, April 7th is around the corner. And of course, we'll see what happens. Linux distros. Question from Linux distros that comes from Ben. Ben says, hi, I love your show. I watch your show every week when I come back from work. Unfortunately, I work while you're doing the show, but it's fun to watch the playback. So continue your good work. It's fantastic. Thank you very much, Ben. His questions are on Linux distros. He says he doesn't understand if Windows is a paid software. Why is Linux not getting higher in market share? Why, over the years, does Linux not reach the market share that you have with Windows? It has to do with a lot of things, okay? It has to do with Microsoft being pretty good at what they do in marketing and sending out Windows operating systems, especially at the beginning. Where everything actually changed was at the beginning. At the beginning, let's go back to Windows. it's the beginning of Windows 95. Now, Windows 95 is the first real popular Windows version. It's hard to believe people were actually in line outside stores to get Windows 95 at midnight. Let's just imagine that. It's as if today people would get in line to get Creators Update in April, which is far from being what would happen. But you know what? The hype was as high as that back then. Microsoft kind of pulled in, I would say they kind of pulled a Apple-style event and moment there. And that made already something happen there, is that Windows suddenly really, really soared in popularity. But back then, you got to understand that Linux in 95 and Windows in 1995 was a hell of a very bizarre and almost impossible to use operating system for the mainstream, for most people. So there was no idea of Linux back in 1995. People would not even think about that. And Windows 95 was there. And Windows 95 was the top seller. And as PCs came with Windows, and every PC people would buy would come with Windows. Well, it kept the momentum, because if you're in Windows, the next computer you're going to have, you want to have Windows. And it perpetuates all the time. So basically, that's why Windows is dominating. They've been able to, from the start, make it something big, and it continued on because people just want to stay in Windows. And then you got to understand that Linux is something that very few people know about. Linux is still, even though it's so much better today, it's still not totally user-friendly. People that have no knowledge don't necessarily want to use Linux, or will not necessarily understand what to do in Linux. But I got to say, the Linux distros today are pretty famous. I mean, I've got two computers here that one has Ubuntu, one has Mint, and they are nice. They're very beautiful operating systems, I got to say. Very stable, no problems at all. So, they're just, people want to stay in the safe spot, the things that they know they can use and that they are familiar with. And that helps Microsoft keep its edge with Windows. It actually helps them continue with Windows. But you know what? It's very nice, and I think, yeah, there could be some people that they can use it daily with, depending on what they do. So, it's all a question of marketing. It's a question that Linux doesn't have any marketing. It's a free operating system that doesn't really have any push. Over the years, there were a gazillion distros that were available, and each flavor has its own look, its own graphic user interface, its own base, be it Debian or whatever. It's just different. And basically, Linux will maybe get a little better, but I don't think it will ever catch on as a mainstream operating system. But it's used in certain areas, servers, for example. There's a lot of servers running on Linux. Why? Because it's free. And so the servers can run with Linux, and if you've got the Linux tech guy that knows his Linux well, it's fantastic. It works very, very well. And it doesn't cost the same amount. But, that's a lot of, we can discuss about that, because what happens is some people will say, yeah, Linux servers cost less, but the tech guy and the tech problems make it cost as much as running Windows Server, which of course costs more because of the association with Microsoft. But it depends, and there are a few places, and let's face it, there's a really hardcore fan base that are like, there's a hardcore Mac user base that just will refuse to go on any other thing than Mac computers and OS 10. There's a Linux user base that will never want to install Windows in any machine. They buy machines, they install or their favorite distro of Linux. They're happy with that and they like that. But what's cool with Linux, and I always say, you're curious about Linux, you can get a Linux distro, put it on I use a pendrive Linux installer. So what you do is you download the image of your favorite of a distro, Linux distro. You, of course, put it on USB thumb drive with pendrive Linux. And what's cool is you can boot from it without installing it. So you can actually try a Linux version without messing up anything on your computer. And that's a cool thing because you can try it out, see how it goes. And sometimes it's refreshing to see something else than Windows. I'm part of that type of guy that likes to see more, see other stuff. And if you ever decide to install, Linux distros today are extremely easy to install. If basically you are able to clean install Windows, you're able to clean install Linux, pretty sure. You can dual boot, but that can cause issues sometimes. I prefer having a specific computer just for Linux. I think that's better. You also say that you were surprised to see that Ubuntu, when you download it, or when you want to download it, asks for money to download it. Don't worry. Yes, it does ask for donation. They've been pushing a little more on donation side. But if you look and you go down the list, it's going to say like, this, that. Oh, you owe us, you want to pay us $45 in donations. On the left side, you got, no, I don't want to do this now. Please continue in the download page. And that's where you're going to get to the download page, and it's going to be fun. So just look carefully. It's like they've done what a lot of websites do, push the paying side. So that's all you see, more than the free side. So it's harder to see. And finally, do you need an antivirus in Linux? You know what? I don't think so. Personally, I would not. It already has enhanced security if you want, because of the low number of Linux computers. Already gives you a certain protection. And I don't know. I've never had, and it's like on a Mac. Even though we hear more ransomware stuff and everything, I'm not really sure you want an antivirus on a Mac. But if it eases your mind, why not? The most important thing about Linux when you get the a distro is updating it to make sure that it actually will be as safe as possible by shutting down all the security holes in there. Okay, computer part failures, and this is a question that comes to us from Samuel. Samuel says, hello, love your show. You are a tech guy, and the question that I'm having is, what are the top 3 parts that fail in every computer? Is there such a list? Are there some parts that actually break more often than others? Yes, of course. I'd say the top 3 fails on a computer, and let's put it in 2 separate categories, okay? Desktop PC, laptop PC. Top 3 parts fails. One that's common to both laptop and desktop, power supply, is probably one of the 3 parts that fail the most often. And that's not bad, because if your power supply fails, typically it doesn't cost a lot of money to change it and have your computer repaired. Even in the desktop, it's easy to change a power supply. Screen on a laptop, The laptop screen is maybe a weak spot. I would say one of the weak spot. Not that much, but enough that I've seen over the years enough laptops that had dark screens. Typically, what fails is not the screen itself, but the lighting of the screen. Because you got to understand that in a laptop, what happens is you've got this strip of LEDs on the side. Older laptops that are on, typically often you see that it's more yellowish in the screen. These have kind of a neon and basically a fluorescent tube, if you want, that's on the side. These will often fail with time. So that's a laptop thing mostly. Desktop, the second thing that would fail the most, or not particular, I'm not going to put this in particular order, but what would fail also on a desktop computer is often, depending on where you live, but I've seen enough network cards and motherboards that are fried up due to thunderstorm activity, lightning crashes. That's something that happens very often on desktops. Enough, once again, for me to put it in the top 3 parts. So you'll have your network card is going to fail, or your motherboard is going to fail, and it's due to the fact that a lightning crash or a lightning strike, it doesn't need to touch anything close to your home, but it induces some, voltage spikes in the cable or the fiber or the electricity in your home. That will, of course, have an impact on that side. And last but not least, both desktop and laptop, hard drive. If you've got a good old mechanical hard drive, these are, on laptop, it's the number 1 thing that breaks. On desktop, I would say number 2 after the power supply, but close. So desktop and laptop, mechanical hard drives are failed very often. Remember that a mechanical hard drive, because of its nature, because there's an arm actuator, it moves, it has moving parts, and it's actually very impressive when you see one work. It actually tends to make that easier to break down. And as the more it gets hot, the more chances it will break down. That's why I'd say laptop hard drives probably fail more than desktop hard drives because of the heat. And typically after 3 years of use, okay, the statistics we got is after 3 years of use, approximately 10% of all hard drives fail every year after that. That means it's an average. So that means you can have that hard drive that will last 12 years. Or you can have and be unlucky and have that hard drive that broke down after 6 months. But typically, most hard drives tend to do their 3 years solid. After 3 years, that's where it gets more of a problem. You're also asking me, as a tech guy, what did I choose between AMD and Intel? And he says that he's noticed that Intel PCs are often a little more expensive. So, sometimes he feels like he would maybe want to buy an AMD machine. Do I have anything against AMD or so on? Okay, you know what? As a tech guy, I buy Intel, and I always did buy Intel. And for now, I'm still I want to buy Intel. AMD is okay. And I got a lot of clients with AMD processors. I mean, because they are cheaper, yes, it's true that a lot more people tend to buy the AMD computers. So I'd say that on average, the AMD computers might suffer a little more over a certain amount of time. Why? Because AMD chips or CPUs tend to usually get warmer. They are, they run hotter. And a hotter running machine means over time you might have more problems. So, but in actual real world, I'd say that yeah, there was probably a little more problems with AMD machines than Intel. Is it enough for me to say to somebody, look, I got a budget for that and it's an AMD, not to buy it? I will not say not to buy AMD, but I prefer Intel as a tech guy. And finally, you say, is it possible to overclock laptops? Not really. There are specific laptops that are made to do so, but in general, most laptops are, the BIOS is clocked at a specific speed that you cannot change, and it's impossible to overclock. And even if you do, the fact that laptops are very, thinly and enclosed stuff, they're the ventilation isn't that great in a laptop. Overclocking will quite rapidly probably have problems because of overheating in a laptop. It's more of a desktop thing for overclocking, basically. Hey, hello the chat room. How are you, everybody? Nice to have you in here. Patrick Manny, hello. David Walker, Albert Zappa, Farney Jr. What do we have? We have Tim Robinson. Hello there. What else do we have? We have Grapple Pearls. Hello there. Nice to have you here. Albert Zappa. We have a... who else am I? Did I miss somebody here? Please say hello if I did. Farney Jr. David Rocha. Nice to have you here. Anybody else that I'm missing right here? Yes, Miss Lady Catherine's not here. Oh, we have Samurai PC. Hello there. Where did I see? I did see somebody else, I think. Late Ali. Hello there. We have Douglas Elliott. I answered the questions earlier. Cycler 39. Bobby Burgess. Sean Robinson. We have Jacqueline and Bride. Hello there. Where else did I miss anybody else? Kirk Weber. Hello there. Nice to have you here. Peter Sargent. Hello there. Peter Sargent is the quiet guy in the chat. Just saying hi when I say hi. That's pretty much it. So yeah, cool to have everybody here. Always fun. And really, really nice little chat room and cool people right here. So hey, I hope everybody's doing well. I'm in a bad mood today because in a rant with my neighbors, I got like two, for around a year now, we have two neighbors that are 18-year-old guys that never been in an apartment. So of course they do things that should not be done in an apartment, like listening to music at 4 in the morning or making a lot of noise. So, it's really something. So, yes, I am growing. Hey, Cal Berger, nice to have you here. Will Windows still be doing updates on computers after Windows 10 ending support in 2025, making it a service? Where are your thoughts? That 2025 date is going to be pushed back at some point. At some point, you'll see it's 2027 or 2028 or something. And basically, that's pretty much my thought. We're going to continue having these big updates to Windows 10, and at some point, we're still far from 2025, so a lot of things can change. The PC market in that period of time is just going to change so much that maybe we won't even be talking about Windows anymore. Who knows what's going to happen still, until then? But I do think that we'll still have Windows 10 and everything. It's very interesting because a lot of you have been asking, is 15 063. And basically, it's I'm not sure. Donna Sarkar is hinting, and today she did hint again that there's maybe another build coming. It's never been so weird. I gotta tell you that. So, oh yeah. Sorry, that's the best thing to do. Albert says he lives for the day, and that's okay. Grapple pearls, don't get me started on my neighbors. Yeah. So they put an end of support date for specific versions. So meaning that, for example, if you have the original Windows 10 and you look at, of course, expiry date will be, or end of support will be 2025. So the versions right now that we are running are the versions that will be in 2025. The versions that are not going to be updated anymore. So that's what's going to happen. But as we move on, because as they upgrade Windows 10 all the time, what happens is that there are some older versions that nobody will be using anymore. For example, 93% of people now are on anniversary update. That leaves 7% that are on older versions, and a very small version on the original. So that original version that doesn't have all the technologies that were added with time and the updates that were added with time, they want that to expire at some point. So that's why they put a date. That's why they put an expiry date for specific versions. So to give an idea, Windows 7 expires in 2020. But the original first version of Windows 7 actually expires before. It's Windows 7 with Service Pack that expires in 2020. So as they go ahead, the expiry date will move on, but for specific new versions of Windows 10, so that they don't have to support every little version. If we get 20 updates until then, they don't want to support updating 20 different versions of Windows 10. They want to support updating a specific smaller number of Windows 10 versions. It's easier to manage. That's why they put a date like that. So it's fine. I like it, Tim. I find it okay. The Windows 10 version Twitter app it's okay. I have no problem with it. What else do we have here? Okay. Let me just check it out here. Yeah, also checking Donna Sarkar. And of course, for those that wonder, tonight, of course, at 6 p.m. Eastern, 2200 hours UTC, we are going to, it says 23, but it's 22. I have to change that number. 6 p.m. Eastern Time, we have the Windows Insider Hour. We'll talk about the Insider Preview. And who knows, maybe she'll be dropping a build of Windows 10 while we're live, like has been happening twice. So, that's coming up a little later on. So, it's interesting to see what's going to happen with that. Apart from that, man, I can tell you one thing is that I've seen a big impact in, I was talking today about the YouTube, the companies that are actually boycotting YouTube ads right now. I got to say one thing. I actually have had a major drop in my AdSense revenue since Friday. And every day it's been lower and lower. And I'm like, what the hell is happening? I gotta say, it's almost scary at some point. So I don't know. We'll see. But it is a little scary. And I hope it's not going to stay like that, because I won't be able to continue on with live shows if it does. So yeah, you guys in Europe, have changed your time. Now the show is back at the regular time you guys were used to before. So it's pretty cool. What else do we have here? What else do we have here? Okay, here I don't have any issues. I don't see any problems in the stream upstream. So if there are some issues, about a freeze, that's possibly not on my end, because the upstream is really good here. So back at 11 p.m. in the UK for the Windows Insider Hour. Okay, Kelberger. So will Windows 10 not have extended support and just stay mainstream? And do you think they should add an option to use the old start menu in 2015 release? The other one seemed better. You know, we'll get updates, and as updates go through, like we're getting Creators Update now, we'll have another update this fall. As these updates go through, what I see is that we will have changes in Windows 10, and you know what? A lot of people have been mentioning they like the original start menu better. You know, one of the things that you can do is to basically go to the feedback hub and send them that request. Say that you'd like to have the possibility to, you know, change the start menu like that, and maybe it's something that's gonna appear in the next version or so. You know. Jacqueline McBride, yes, I am married, and been married in June it's going to be 7 years. Married 7 years. So to answer your question, what do you think about new Samsung tablet? Looks really nice. I've always found the Samsung tablets to be very nice. And if I would want a tablet of some sort, I would probably buy a Samsung tablet, and the new ones are really nice. They're a little expensive, but they are beautiful and they are very nice. I think they are pretty good Samurai PC. Tim Robinson, I tried the website, Gabe. Not sure about navigation to who I am following on there either. Yeah, it's not always easy. And there's a lot of people trying to, you know, get their handle and have you like follow the wrong person. So there's people out there that are like, yeah, am I following the right Donna Sarkar or the right? So that's why they have verified accounts. Very important to. Most of them will have verified accounts that have that little, you know, circle, a check mark saying this is the official Donna Sarkar. This is the official. And sometimes you know, there's so many profiles on Twitter that pretend to be somebody else, and to a point where, you know what, I think if you're not the official, they should remove your Twitter feed. You know, if you're not, you know, when I searched for Donna Sarkar first time, I noticed there was another Donna Sarkar that pretends to be from Microsoft, but she's not. It doesn't have anything to do with it. And so they should really you know, remove the wrong ones. I can tell you that. So really amazing. What else do you have here? Let's just check it out. There is no list. Maybe I'm missing something of people you're following. Let's check that out. So I'm going to go to my Twitter app. Let's go to the Twitter app, and we're going to check who I'm following and who's following me. I know that there's like 500 and, well, this is a long time to take to load. That's one thing I've noticed about the Twitter app on the creators update. Seems to be long to load. It even crashed right now. I'm going to try it again. I'm going to go through Darna Sarkar. It should work. And here, the second pass works. So if I look at me, so I've got 513 followers, and I'm following 79. And if I click following, yeah, it's not kind of a list. I understand what you mean, but you do see everybody that you're following, basically. But I do understand that it's not like a list. Okay. You'd rather have just a list of the followers. I do understand that. Huh. Okay. What do you have here? What do you change when you do this? Subscribe to. These are lists. Member of. Huh. Okay. Yeah, it might not be exactly what you want. Effectively, it doesn't seem to be as easy to have a list on the Twitter app. It's more of a kind of a let's, okay. What else do we have here? Hey, Larry, Eli Fritz, Hon Dell Inspiron M5040 and had Windows 7 originally. Then after updating to Windows 10, it ran slower. Recently bought another Dell with Windows 10 pre-installed. Did you just upgrade Windows 7 to Windows 10? Because one of the things that I see is that some people were complaining that when they went from Windows 7 to Windows 10 was slower. And most of the people that complained about that were people that upgraded and kept everything from the Windows 7 operating system. And if you reinstalled a clean install, usually it was faster. As if something is broken from the Windows 7 to Windows 10 upgrade. So that's pretty possible. So I hope your new Windows 10 with your new Dell with Windows 10 works fine. Hopefully. So you, Kalberger, you go to the feedback hub. So when you are on your desktop, you'll see that there's a Cortana search. You can type feedback, and you'll see something called the feedback hub. This is where you can send a comment or a suggestion to Microsoft about things that you'd like to have changed. So for example, you can search for it already. If you, for example, try start menu, you already will find everybody that's been talking about the start menu. And if somebody has the same start menu problem or suggestion that you have, what you could do is click the upvote. And when you click upvote, it gives more importance to that. So start by searching if somebody has already suggested that. If not, you just click the add new feedback button here. And you will be, of course, doing a new feedback. Explain very clearly what you mean, what you want exactly. And send it. And you know what? If you get upvoted by other people, you might have Windows 10 change for some reason, and you'll have what you want. So that's pretty cool. What else do we have? Wow, Bobby Burgers found Gianna Sisters on Google Play for $1. Cool. That's cool. It's fun. I like Gianna Sisters. So, Yeah, that's pretty much what I have as experience. Like Tim says, I also let me check that out. Grateful Pearls. I'm not sure. I remember we. Let me just check that out here, and let's check it out. Okay. What's your I remember you were there, but I don't know if I'm following you. When's the last time that you sent me a little something? I'm trying to remember. Um, what's your Twitter handle? Let's search. Is it Grateful Pearls? Grateful Pearls. Oh yeah, Grateful 12. I got you here, I think. I think that's you, if I'm not mistaken. And yeah, follows me. So here it goes, Grateful Pearls. I'm following you now. And I was not, I had not followed you. So now I'm following you, Grateful Pearls. Yeah, that's what I remembered. I saw Grateful 12 and said, oh yeah, that's Grateful Pearls. So here you are. I'm following you now. Added to my following list. And pretty cool. Forney Jr., do I think Windows 10 build 15063's RTM? You know what? The thing is, everything seems to point to the fact that yeah, it could be. Oh, there goes Bobby. Did it the wrong way. Everybody is seeing documents and things that seem to point to the fact that yeah, they should be. Here we go, Bobby Burgess. So at Burgess Bobby, pretty cool. Here it is. Follow. Ta-da! Here we go. And now I'm following Bob Burgess. There you go. So so okay, like I was saying, it's very curious because we have Donna Sarkar. Let's just look at Donna Sarkar's latest post. Okay, let's just check it out. So if we go to Donna Sarkar latest post. It's been 5 hours, and she had one today that says 6 hours ago. We have a few diff flight ops meetings to discuss test results. We'll keep you updated on build status, and that is interesting. That's the weird thing here. What does that mean? I'm almost thinking there's going to be some other build of Windows 10. I don't know why. I have a hunch that 15063 is not the last. But maybe I'm wrong, I don't really know. And internal stuff, this morning I posted, because of Paul Tarot's article, seems like 15063 is the real thing. Until all the links were removed. And you can't download the image anymore. And it's like, what? What happened here? Something's changed. So, I don't know. Yeah, no, Microsoft does not use RTM anymore. That's a term they don't want to use anymore, David. Because RTM used to be released to manufacturer. And since they don't want that anymore to happen, or to talk, they don't want us to talk like this. So, yeah, that's possible, David. It's totally possible that we'll get a cumulative update. Maybe that's what they're going to push. Maybe tonight you're going to say, okay, insiders, you guys got a cumulative update. That would pretty much point out that we are on the creators update. Hey there, Danny, Shortwave Radio DX. Nice to have you here. And yep, that's totally possible. Let's check out the email a little more. We have Tommy or Viper Boy, or Viper 78 Boy says, first of all, he miscalculated how long I had my computer, and I sent you a link. It was November 28, 2015, but I didn't get it till December 22nd, 2015. So it's about a year and a half old, basically. Close to a year and a half old. Okay. That is not very, very long for a computer. I typically don't think that necessarily a 1.5-year-old computer needs any tweaking or, paste or something. So I'm not sure. I would not necessarily touch it right away for thermal paste. Usually it takes several years for thermal paste to really go bad, so I don't think that is should I worry too much that it gets warm or real warm after cleaning? Every computer is different. An AMD processor comes hotter than an Intel. It might be in the okay range. You've got sensors on your PC. If it doesn't shut down by itself, because technically a computer, if it goes really too hot, your computer's gonna either do your Windows gonna crash, or it's gonna shut down and stay shut down. That means I'm too hot, and I'm preventing damage here. Yeah, just make sure that the fan's spinning and it's okay. And sometimes I did see instances with AMD chips where actually, as a tech guy, I told people maybe you should have a better fan in heatsink, because on computers you've got the stock fan and heatsink that comes typically with the computer. Sometimes having something more powerful is needed, so that's a possibility. So that's for sure. And also, remember, if the room in which your computer is very warm, the computer's internal temperature will be much hotter. It typically, if I look at failing computers because of overheating, happens in the summertime here. Most people that I have overeating problems that I see are people, they call me up in the summer because it's hot. It rarely happens in the winter because it's much cooler in our homes here. But I know where you live, it's pretty much always hot, so it might be okay. P.S. A friend that may help me clean it did say it still stays warm, or if I don't do the trick back to normal temperature, they'll get his friend to check it out and make sure it's spinning right. But are you hearing the fans also? Because usually a computer that's too warm, you start hearing the fans a lot more. So, and it says, I just noticed according to Puriform Specky, my fan speed highest was at 45, 31 RPMs, lowest 44 for 77. So it's spinning pretty fast. So it's trying to do its job of cooling down. And it might just be that that computer you got isn't in its normal temperature range. That's also something that you've got to understand. So if it's not crashing or anything, of course we try to keep our computers in in top shape by having them as cool as possible. But it doesn't mean that it's necessarily bad. And don't worry too much about it. Don't worry too much about it. So sometimes it's better to like I always say, in computers it's particularly true. If anything broke, don't fix it is just such a good a good thing to say, because in general, when people tell me, yeah, it's running hot, I take a look a little bit and I see, does it crash? Have any problems? Depending, if it's an AMD, I know that it's usually hotter, so I'll well, let's just leave it like that for now. And if something goes bad, we'll we'll do something. But maybe you just need to keep it like that also. Yes, I did see Bobby Burgess, a new station from Nevada on the radio side. And by the way, I've posted on the radio channel YouTube page the schedule for my tech shows for the month of April. Now we're going back into a radio show, radio show every week. We'll alternate Fridays and Saturdays, but every week we'll have a radio show. I don't like the fact that we have 2 weeks to go by before a radio show, so I think that's going to be nice. Yes, that is extremely true, Tim. The stock AMD fan is often not very. It's not very good. Intel has a great fan. Intel, rarely you need to change anything on the Intel fan and each things. They're really good. But AMD, it either overheats or the fan will break down fast, or man, it's just horrible. So, for the release date of Creators Update, still no official date. We still have the rumors of April 11th. I saw one, I believe, was April 15th or something like that. I saw another one in the first 10 days of April. Sorry, people. I always have that little cough. So, I don't know. Tim says got close to 70 degrees centigrade running disk cleaner. So, 34 gigabyte to clean up. Wow, there's a lot of stuff there. And yeah, on laptops, that's a good thing. Larry Ellifrit says he got a cooling pad under his laptop. That's actually I like that because it's something that doesn't cost a lot, and it really makes a big difference in how it keeps your laptops cooler. And I tell a lot of people, why not invest in a little cooling pad? It's always cool. Maybe it kept stuff from old install, Tim. That's for sure. Then he says, I owned HP laptops, and they all had issues with the screen going blank, or it's all light colors. Very annoying. If anyone issues, you know what, Danny Shortwave, the DV series, DV2, 3, 4000, 5000, 6000 series, I believe has a higher rate of screen failures than the majority of other laptops that I've seen. As a tech guy, I've actually have a few laptops that the screen went black and I had problems and issues. So Gripple Pearls. Jules was playing around with my calendar the other night in mailing calendar, found an issue. Sorry, couldn't remove a birthday, and it was being listed twice on the same day. Oh, that's interesting. So you had like a double. Do you have more than one, Grateful Pearls, do you have more than one email account in mail by any chance? Showed the same in Outlook Mail 2 on Edge, but when I went to Internet Explorer 11, it showed the same there as well, but it showed at Live. That's kind of interesting. That's kind of interesting. That's weird. But do you have more than one account? Could it be that you have the same birthday stored in the calendars of different accounts, like Google Calendar, and that would show up as a double? You do have some little issues there with Outlook Mail, and it's kind of weird. As if you got some kind of corrupted database in it. That's very weird. Sorry, guys. I'm just having a little more. Need to drink more water, flavored water. And no alcohol today. Me and Gabriel, we had our. Me and Gabriel had our kind of official birthday parties together here last Saturday. And it ended on Sunday morning at 7 a.m. So I gotta say, got my dose of alcohol for a few days now. And yeah, okay. Yeah, because it's as if two accounts. It's as if two accounts are giving you the information on the calendar. It's pretty weird. Jacqueline McBride says the core is at 52, which is not too bad of a temperature for a processor in general. Jacqueline McBride. Tim Robinson, what shiny new feature would you like to see introduced to insiders after the RS2 release? Just pluck something out of the air, perhaps. It's something no one thought of yet. What would I like to see in Insider Preview? Man, I don't know. I'm not sure yet. That's a hard question. I haven't really thought of any new features that I would like to see, I gotta say. So, I don't know. I don't know what could be interesting to add to, maybe, probably my number one would be maybe more customization of Windows itself. More possibilities of tweaking around the Windows operating system in every other way, from the colors to the way that things appear, even having different ways of viewing the settings page, for example. Changing the way you see, for example, if you go in the control panel, you have the icon view or the category list view and stuff like that. I would like maybe to see options where you can change the settings from how it looks now to different categories or stuff like that. So Patrick says, bring back Microsoft Money. I gotta say, Microsoft Money, I had a lot of clients that used that. It was actually a pretty interesting and pretty nice piece of software to keep track of your finances. It was actually pretty surprising, as for sure. Grateful Pearl, I think that is what is happening with my contacts too. It is weird. Did Microsoft not clean up the code or just write all over the code Windows Live Messenger? You might have some kind of conflict from within all of that. They're actually giving me some clues there, Grateful Pearls, of maybe why something's happening in your account, in your mail, in your contacts and everything. That's going to be interesting. Sync with our Windows 10 devices, but the option to miss out some of your devices if you so wish. Yeah, that could be, or maybe an easier way. One of the things as you're talking with that, how about an easier way of managing the different devices that sync together in a panel? Like instead of going through one machine saying, hey, don't sync here, sync this. I want to sync this with others. I don't want to sync this. It's kind of a little difficult right now if you got several Windows 10 machines. They all want to sync together, and you got to play with and tweak the settings everywhere, and it's kind of maybe a little messed up. And I would rather have maybe your laptop, or you choose one laptop that is kind of your main laptop, and that one would see all the other laptops. It would tell you, turn on all the laptops you got in your home, or all the Windows 10 devices you have in your home. And maybe in a panel, it would show all the devices and just check mark, okay, synchronize with this and this one, don't synchronize with this one and this one. Easy like that. Instead of, let's go into the settings and check out where I have to put the on and off switches for the syncing of stuff, which makes it kind of complex. So maybe that would be one of the nice things there. Ripple per cells. Just go here. Okay. So I think that is what is causing all the crap with Skype. Did they not clean up the codes for these email programs? Yeah, I don't know. Microsoft is stuck in some kind of world where there's syncing of devices, and there's legacy devices, and there's legacy stuff. So everything they upgrade contains new code, old code, all mixed together, and it's making it extremely difficult and often causing all sorts of issues like you got. And that's part of why it's so complex to upgrade stuff with Microsoft. And that's why Paul Thurrott had a rant about it and saying, hey, Windows updates should not bring us these big versions of Windows. It's not a good thing. Patrick Manny says, I still use Money 98. Wow. I don't know. Well, if it's working right now in your Windows 10 operating system, pretty much will probably still work in Creators Update. Wow, I'm surprised that such an old software still works. Larry Elfritz, what do I think of laptops with touchscreens? You know what? I've used, a friend of mine has a laptop. Of course, Gabriel has his Surface tablet, but I have a friend of mine that I visit regularly that has a Windows 10 laptop with touchscreen. You're going to get used to that really a lot. I mean, as I use it, I come back home and I want to touch my screen all the time to do something, and it really annoys me. And that means that, what? Basically, I do like touchscreens on laptops and on devices. And I think it's something that if I had it as a feature, I would probably get used to really fast using that, basically. Easier than that, Patrick Manny, to remove mail and calendar, just install CCleaner and go in the uninstalled programs. Mail and calendar is there, and you can uninstall it, and you can download it back from the store. I know it's maybe scary for you, Grateful Pearls, but you know what? If I were you, I would do that. I would remove it, go back to the Windows Store, and re-download the mail and calendar apps. But you can do it with CCleaner. So I always have thought that, Joe. If I've only had one email address since I've been with Microsoft, I don't understand why all these issues. Yeah, there's something happening. Definitely, that's for sure. Yeah, I always say CCleaner, Patrick, because for people that are not tech savvy, it's easier to do it with that than to start using PowerShell and stuff. When you start using PowerShell, it does scare a lot the people in general. So, oh, cool, Larry. Do you use your touchscreen a lot on your new laptop? Do you like it? Danny Shortwave says, I think it's cool. And he uses his touch laptop daily. That's pretty cool. Funny because I don't have any devices except my little 8-inch tablet. I have no laptops that are touchscreen here. But probably next time I buy, my next powerful laptop will probably have a touchscreen on it. So got stuck in a Windows Live Messenger black hole. Funny because you're talking about that. Paul Thurrott had a interesting article. Interesting article. No, it's not Paul Thurrott. Wait. I think it's Tech Radar. Tech Radar was looking at Skype in different messaging apps. And they came to a point where they said Windows Live Messenger finally was the best messaging app ever in Windows. And basically, Skype is so crappy, Oh, for drawing, it's fantastic, Larry. I mean, touchscreens are great for that. I mean, you can, I would love, actually, I used it as I've been invited on Microsoft Montreal a few times. One of the cool features of that big Surface Studio is when you put it at an angle that's close to being on a drawing table, and you can draw on that screen. It's like so cool. And if I was, I would draw all the time. If I made cartoons and stuff like that, I can tell you, I would definitely like to have one of those devices. It would probably make it so cool. It was, I agree, and I will have to read that article on Tech Radar. I'm not 100% sure it's Tech Radar, but I do think it's Tech Radar, Grapple Pearls. They were comparing talking about different messaging apps that exist today, and saying, you know what, we had the best ever in Windows Live Messenger. I gotta say, you know what, when I read that, I just thought about people around me, and one thing that I did notice is that when we went from Windows Live Messenger and that they pushed us to use Skype, everybody I know that used to be online on Windows Live Messenger all the time stopped using it because they couldn't understand Skype and they couldn't understand how to talk with somebody, and they just said the hell with it. And pretty much nobody that was using Windows Live Messenger and the people I know are still using something. They just are using, what replaced it basically is Facebook Messenger. They get on Facebook and they use Facebook Messenger. Hey there, Andre, Cool AM Radio, nice to have you on board. And I really need to do those voiceovers. I'll try to do them today. Cool AM. I'm just going crazy right now with everything that's happening. So sorry. So sorry. And that mix was really cool, by the way, with my laughter and everything. It was really nice. Really nice. Sorry. Does anybody prefer Skype or Google of Google Hangouts video? I don't do much. I've not been doing anything. With video with anybody. I've never really enjoyed having video chats with anyone. And every time I would use an app to talk with somebody. Yeah, I've got some Grapple Pearls. I might take a couple. What I hate about Benadryl is that it makes me really drowsy. So, because I thought of taking two, but I was thinking, man, I'm going to be drowsy during the show, especially because I sit down. I'm going to look like somebody who wants to sleep. I want to sleep in the Windows Insider hour. um, it's partly cool AM being very busy and always forgetting it. You know, I'd have to have something in my face saying, hey, you got to do that. And that's the big problem. Hey, Josh K, nice to have you on board. So that's all crazy people on my screen. So you got some beers. That's cool. That's cool, Tim. And yeah, maybe Gripple Pearls. I'll try that. But the problem I got is with I've got I take 2 blood pressure medication, and the one of them is actually creating a cough. But because it works so well, the doctor told me, look, I'm going to change it if you want, but it's if it doesn't if it's not too much of a problem, I'd prefer you continue it because it really works well, So I said, okay, I'm gonna continue it for another 6 months, and we'll see in 6 months. And it's not all the time, There's some days that it's almost nothing. Some days like today, I get a little more of a cough. So. No, I don't really draw snowy wilderness. I like I rather go on Google Pictures and get these pictures from Google directly, Larry. I'm the worst. I'm the worst at drawing anything. I can tell you that. So and we're almost at it's been raining for the past 2 days. We had a little bit of an ice storm, but not a lot, and now it's been raining. And for the next few days, we're going to be in good temperatures, nice temperatures. As for the connection, as for the action, Paint 3D is nice, but as for I forgot your name. I erased the email before I answered your question. But as for remote connections on Windows 10. It's funny because if we're so close, we'll see if we have a new build or a cumulative update, but it technically should work apparently. I haven't tried it. I need to try it out for sure. And if I draw, it's like I'm really not talented in drawing anything. I can tell you that. Yeah, Paint 3D is kind of fun, and especially when you go through the 3D Remix website. There's all sorts of 3D objects that you can import into Paint 3D. And basically that really is an interesting aspect to it. And, it really seems fun. I actually enjoyed, I played with it a little bit to do videos, and I actually enjoyed playing with it really a lot. So, yeah, I'm going to check that out, or maybe it's going to be a combination. Actually, what my doctor said, and, I'm a bad guy for that, he said maybe what I could do is try to take Benadryl every day for 10 days, which should normally kind of stop the irritation, and I'll be coughing less. But I need to do something for sure. Does Canada have cold and snowy winters worse than in central United States? It's pretty heavy here. We have very snowy and very cold winters. Typical temperatures here in December, January are like, in Fahrenheit, we easily go down to the minus 20 Fahrenheit in the winter time. 2 weeks ago, we had one of the biggest snowstorms in a very, very long time. Which dropped 2 feet of snow, which is, by the way, almost all melted now. So pretty cool. Danny says, still using his old serial drawing tablet from Wacom tablets. I've seen so many of them. So, really nice. What else do we have here? Yeah, with touchscreen, it's kind of much better than drawing tablets from the time for sure. Hey there, Orlando N from Sydneyopolis. Pretty cool to have you on board. Yeah, I've seen a lot of those in my clients that do some drawings of all sorts, and it's it's pretty nice. Pretty nice to see these devices work. These old devices, some of them still work really, really well. What impressed me the most, is really at my clients with all devices I've seen is that huge printer that had little pens of colors. And with actuator arms that would just move the pen to draw on very huge sheets of paper. And just watching that printer go and draw stuff, God, that was amazing. I just couldn't believe it. That is one of the most impressive things I've seen. And that was an old thing. Very amazing. If you mean if I've gone to the U.S. before, Larry, I've been to the across the East Coast of the United States many years ago. Really really enjoy going to the United States. What prevents me from going right now is because I need a passport. Last time I went to the United States, it was so much relaxed. We went there without we didn't need any passports or almost no papers. We could have crossed the border with no papers on us. They just would ask where we were going and what we were doing, and it was so easy to go to the U.S. back then. Today it's so complex. That's probably why I haven't gone to the U.S. in a long time, just because got to get a passport, and it just seems so so heavy now, all the security stuff and everything. It's just crazy now, and I don't know. Etch-a-Sketch has a kit. I had one also. Etch-a-Sketch. Cool AM says temp here about 68 degrees Fahrenheit, very sunny, nice weather. Here it's in Fahrenheit about maybe we're in the lower 40s today. Something like that. Oh my God. What was that game called? The game with that Grapple Pearls is talking about. Yeah, that's also another thing, Tim. Will I be able to go in with a French name? Will they say no, you're not allowed in? No, Mr. Letourneau, which is that's how you pronounce my last name. One that was, as Grapple Pearls is talking about toys, one that really always made me very nervous is my niece from my my sister's side. My niece had this, the doctor game where you have to get in and get the little parts from inside the guy, but you have to not touch the edges or else it buzzes. And it just makes you scared as hell every time it buzzes. You step 2 feet in the air. Wow, they still sell them today. Wow, that's amazing. Oh man, Operation. I mean, that was really well done because every time you just, touch the edge, I'd step 2 feet, man. Oh man, that was. I always remember that. Just amazing. Oh man. Oh yeah, I had Light Bright too, Larry. I love Light Bright. And of course, it was always the same. I was like, I had Light Bright, but what happened with Light Bright? You'd go through the paper, the black paper that they had, and of course, you'd never have, I never had some black paper after that. And at some point, I would use regular sheets of paper. Of course, it's not the same because regular sheets of paper are more transparent, so you see the lighting. But still, I'd use regular sheets of paper, and man, I had a lot of fun with that. But playing Light Bright, I loved Light Bright. That was cool. That was cool. That was cool. Very simple, but just so cool, Light Bright. I like that. I had one when I was young. So, okay, Ripple Pearls, cool. Yes, of course, Larry, the Consumer Electronics Show in Las Vegas, Nevada. I've many times I was thinking of going there. It must be something really cool to go to. Orlando says he used to freak out everybody at school with static electricity by rubbing his shoes on the carpet in the classroom. That is nice. I was rubbing everywhere I would see balloons. I would rub them against my hair and put them against the wall. And people would like, how do you do that? Oh, I just rub it in my hair and just put it on the wall. It was kind of funny. So, hey guys, we're going to call it quits for now for the tech show, but we will be back in an hour and 9 minutes with the Windows Insider Hour. So, I hope you guys are going to enjoy that. And so, I'm taking a little break and a Wooly Willy. So I'm going to take a little snack. I've got some pasta in the kitchen. And of course, we are back in an hour and 5 minutes. On the other channel, I'm going to post the link to the channel for anyone that wants to join in. So it's youtube.com/Windows 10 for everyone /live. This is where you will find me in about an hour's time at 6 p.m. Eastern, 2200 hours. And hope that you guys enjoy the show. See you in the Insider Hour for those that want. We're going to talk a bit about what's happening with the Insider program, which basically we aren't really sure. Why did I put 29 here? It's 28. And basically we are going to, of course, talk about the Windows Insider as usual. So, Wooly Willy. That's nice. So take care, everyone, and see you in about an hour's time, and hope that most of you will be there. Yeah, that's why I'm waiting. Donna will eventually say something, and we might have, who knows, an insider preview. That's for sure. So thank you, everybody. Take care, all. See you in about an hour for those that will see each other. If not, Thursday we have From the Couch at 4 p.m. Eastern. That's going to be, of course, the next show with my nephew Gabriel. And apart from that, I have a radio show on my shortwave channel this Saturday also. Take care, everybody. Love you all. And always nice to have everybody here. Take care. And if we don't see each other this week, have a nice week. We are here every Tuesdays at 4 p.m. Eastern, 2000 hours. No, 3 p.m. Eastern, sorry. 1900 hours UTC, where we talk and answer your questions. If you have any questions, helpwithyourcomputers@gmail.com. Just send that during the week, and we'll be here. Hey, Tim Brennan. It's the Windows Insider Hour on the other channel in about an hour's time in the link that I just posted on the chat room. So if you just look up, you'll see it. So take care, all. Love you. See you soon. Bye-bye.